That's what you want to do. Okay, now you call your meeting to order.
Goodness.
Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Public hearing ZBA 2025-01 of Michaela Azerjan. Everybody rise for the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call. Skip,
Present.
Carl,
Here.
Wendy,
Present.
Dick Boyd, alternate.
Here.
Now he's a member.
I remember. Member.
I'm sorry,
No problem.
Dick Boyd is the member. Eric is the alternate. Okay. And Kay Held is our secretary,
Recording secretary.
recording secretary.
For Mr. Gall. Is he to be part of the roll call, or are you a member of the audience tonight?
He's a member of the audience tonight,
Right.
unless there's a conflict of interest. Or someone that's on the 5-panel board that needs to excuse himself or.
So he should be part of the roll call then?
I don't know.
He's not participating in the meeting.
He's not participating, no. But he can as a public,
Okay.
as a member of the public.
And also, Robert, if I could ask you, if in doing a roll calls for votes and whatnot, if you could,
Last names.
last name,
Okay.
that's helpful. You can use first and last, just so I get the last
Mhm.
two as well. Thank you.
Yeah. Eric Gull. Dick Boyd is the alternate. I got him reversed. Okay, Dick Boyd is the current member. Okay, Eric Gull is the alternate. Okay. Carl Rubble. Rubble. Okay. Skip. Never learned your last
Lake.
name. Lake, Skip Lake.
Don't go in over your knees if you can't swim.
You're talking about the lake? Anyone else?
Folks,
Wendy, okay.
Thank you.
Did everybody look at the agenda? Has everybody looked at the agenda?
Yep.
Can I have a raise of hand? Okay. We all have looked at the agenda. Any adjustments to it? None? Okay. We did change a couple items from the last time that we met that we're changing the position of the findings. The findings is before the discussion, okay? Before it was discussion first and then the findings, so that's been already adjusted on the current agenda. Any declaration of conflict of interest among,
We need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'm sorry, okay.
It's all right.
Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
Second.
Carl,
Second.
second. Okay. Carl. And Dick Boyd, second.
Thank you.
Public comments?
vote yet.
You need a vote yet. On the agenda, right?
You can do a yay, nay on this one.
Okay. Carl,
You all in
by
favor?
names?
You can do a,
We'll call or just say all in favor.
All in favor?
All in favor? Aye.
or post.
All opposed?
All opposed?
Thank you. Now we're on to the conflict of interest.
Right. Any conflict of interest? Carl?
Nope.
Skip? Nope, no conflict of interest. Anything else you need that? Do you need anything else for that? Okay, all right. Public comments unrelated to the hearing. Excuse me,
Gonna be public.
the room,
comment.
yeah, the room is, I'm talking to the room, okay. No public comments?
Sign the sheet on the side too for anybody that does have a comment.
And just so you know, there is somebody raised.
Okay, all right.
Good evening. My name is Heidi Volmuth,
Heidi,
Volmmuth. I live at 8388 Winnie Lane,
Winnie.
Winnie. I've probably attended more ZBA meetings, plan commission meetings, traffic meetings. I've been attending meetings since I've been about 21 years old. I got involved in politics after I had a child at 25. When little kids wanted to know why they put up baby swings and didn't put up any regular swings. Then it never stopped, meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. My homework tonight for your meeting was probably about 6-7 hours. You probably think that's crazy. Not really. Because every time you read something and question something to yourself, it leads you down a different road. We have to remember why the Zoning Board of Appeals meets. We have laws, rules, regulations. Just like to get a driver's license or a motorcycle license, you need the rules of the road. They give you 2 nice books. They also give you some forms to fill out in case you want to change your driver's license. Here in Township Hall, anytime you want to figure out what goes on in a Township Hall, walk in the front door. You'll always find the zoning ordinances, at least you should. You should probably find the general ordinances, but they're usually not over there. And there's also a place called the MTA, which has all these neat little books. And then there's Robert's Rules of Order. You also use Zoom. So now you're mixing policies and procedures with the Zoom requirements that is put forth, plus Robert's Rules of Order. This is probably your most important book. This explains to you what a variance is, and it also explains why the Zoning Board of Appeals, what your job is. Most of your information is in the back, but it's a really good read. So is this one. So I'm here for the public hearing and to watch your meeting. I've watched several of these. I'm not here to grade them. I'm a private citizen. I'm here to make sure you hear us.
did she conclude?
Concluded.
Yes, you did.
Right.
Private citizen.
Mhm. Okay, public comment on Zoom. Please identify yourself and state your comment.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
This is Connie Highmore, Hymore. 6761 Baggs Road. Happy New Year to all of you. Welcome to the new members of the ZBA. Your job on this board is a very important one. You're required to know the laws of Whitewater Township, which consists of both zoning ordinances and general ordinances. When a case comes before you, you need to investigate, ask questions, and do research from these local laws. My comment tonight concerns a past variance case that came before the ZBA in 2023. It was about a parcel of land that was divided incorrectly and subsequently created a non-conformant parcel. The parcel had a depth to width ratio greater than 4:1. In fact, it was almost 6:1, a 45% error. At that ZBA meeting, a ZBA member repeatedly said the 4:1 depth to width ratio does not apply to parcels over 10 acres. This rhetoric, which was repeated over and over again in that meeting, was pivotal in the vote of the ZBA for this case. The variance was granted, even though land division is, by our laws, not even supposed to come in front of the ZBA. The member who continued to state the 10-acre rule has recently had an epiphany and now knows that what he told all of you is not true. I'm certain that the 10-acre conversation in that ZBA meeting changed the trajectory of the vote that granted a variance for that night. Those actions have thrown the township into a lawsuit that has cost the taxpayers over $100,000. That is why it's so important to know the laws of Whitewater Township before you make decisions. General Ordinance 26, Section 7, Paragraph D states the ratio of depth to width of any parcel created by the division does not exceed a 4:1 ratio. General Ordinance 26, Section 9 tells us that the ZBA cannot grant variances on non-compliant parcels of land. That case should have never even been listened to by the ZBA. You should have sent it right back to the board. Laws are being broken. They were broken that night, and the price is being paid. Variances should be given out rarely and for proper reason. This ZBA has granted more variances than I have ever witnessed. We have laws for a reason. Please do what's right. Please know the law. We can't afford more lawsuits in this township. You are working for every citizen in Whitewater Township. I thank you for your service to our community and hope you have a good meeting tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Schedule public hearing, CBA 2025-01. I already said that.
Was there anybody else from Zoom?
No.
It's just one person, she said. Yeah,
Sorry.
okay. I'd like to open up the public hearing and announce that the subject is Michaela Azerjan. She is requesting a dimensional variance. She says, I am asking for a 9-foot variance.
Pardon me, I'm sorry to interrupt, Roberto, before you, sound like you were going into some information. We do need a motion to actually open the public hearing.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Do I have a motion to open up the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay. Support?
Skip a second.
Skip supports, okay. Okay,
And a roll call vote.
excuse me,
And a roll call vote then.
and a roll call vote done, okay. Carl,
Yes. Yes.
Skip,
Yes.
Yes. Robert, yes. Wendy,
Yes.
yes.
If I'm on just my recording later, I'm not gonna know who just voted. We could do the last names again, maybe just a little louder without the
Yes.
pointing
Okay.
to, that's helpful. So we have Roble, Lake, Boyd,
Robel, yeah, Carl Robel.
Garza, and Hoeksema.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Get them all?
And that is at 7:24 PM. Thank you.
Yeah. She's requesting a variance, and she says, I'm asking for a 9-foot variance from the north side and a 20-foot variance from the east backside. And my shed can stay where it is. We will address the case by looking at the standards, at the ordinance, and the procedures of the township. During the hearing, there's no discussion until the hearing is closed. Also, when the zoning administrator presents, there's also no discussion. We ready?
Hi, I'm Deb Graber. I'm your zoning administrator. Trying to make sure we can speak up. Hope everybody can hear me. The reason this case has come before you back in September, I was driving down Cook Road and noticed there was a new shed that had been placed on a residential lot. Pulled in the driveway, stopped, asked if the property owner was available, and a gentleman by the name of Hunter Lapierre came out and said that he was the property owner. We went back and we looked at the shed, and I said, I don't have a record of a land use permit. And he goes, oh, I didn't know I needed a land use permit. And I said, well, we have setbacks. And this is a residential piece of property. And we're gonna need to move the shed out of the setback because it was encroaching on the north side setback as well as the rear east setback. Pretty significantly. It's a 13 by 20 shed, which is about 260 square feet. So we had no land use permit. The county never permitted it either. And if you have a structure on a property greater than 200 square feet with the county, you have to get a county building permit. And with the township, anytime you put a structure on a property, you have to get a land use permit. So I wrote Mr. Lapierre a letter, and then Michaela Hazirjian came in and spoke to me that week. I kind of explained, what zoning was and how that worked. She wasn't aware that they had done anything wrong. I gave them 30 days to get the shed removed, to bring them into compliance with the township. I let them know that we did have a nearby deck structure that was also built in the setback without permits, and to actually come and watch the hearing. And that would give them a kind of a feel of what to expect if they chose to, come back to the ZBA and appeal this. But if you, one of the sheets I left on your table tonight was a copy of the 4 items that are on the ZBA website page. And if any of those 4 items are a yes, then it's a denial should be granted by the ZBA. And one of those items is if the situation is self-created. And this situation was in fact self-created. So the shed that's there today is impeded and it's in the setback. I did give Michaela a little extra time. She is a nurse at Munson and she couldn't get in for a December meeting with the ZBA. So that's why we're having the meeting in January. So, and if you have questions after the hearing's closed, feel free to ask me. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. We have the applicant presentation now. Kayla?
You guys have this picture, but it's just the donor version if it makes it easier for you. First of all, I just wanted to apologize for not taking the proper steps that I should have. I did not know this process nor the process that Deb does every day existed. Otherwise I would have done those steps.
This is Michaela.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry.
Sorry, introduce yourself.
Okay. Like I said, I wouldn't have done this if I knew it was gonna cost me additional time and stress and money. When we moved here, I'm a first-time home buyer. I'm just trying to navigate all of the things that company being a homeowner. So, and when we moved here, our realtor also told us like we're not part of an HOA, so we kind of really could do what we want, essentially, is what he said. And so that kind of planted a seed in our heads. So I didn't think there was a process like this or to even look into a process like that. Like Deb said, the county is aware of what I built. I built without a permit. They're making me pay obviously for that permit and then just looking into the infrastructure of it, making sure it's fine. So they are aware of that. They don't want me to take it down. They just want to look into it. As far as why setbacks exist, I had asked Deb this question and she basically said that it's so your neighbors don't build on top of property lines and it keeps happiness among the neighbors and things like that. Which I understand. I totally get that. Again, it's not built on top of the property lines. The cement is 6 feet in and the shed itself is 8 feet in, so it's far from those lines. As well as I got all neighbors that are affected by the shed's approval. Do they have those? Okay. Signatures of them saying that they don't care that it's there and they don't care that it be moved, essentially. And then another reason why when I was looking is aesthetic reasons. Obviously the shed, it houses materials that would otherwise be on the side of our house, on the north side, or in the yard, so it keeps things looking maintained and tidy. It's a neutral color, it matches our house, it's not red or green or yellow or anything like that. As far as safety goes, that was another reason we had talked about. Vehicles can get in and out of the property. This side or this side can get to our house, can get to all the neighboring houses. It does not impede the safety of our house or who lives in it, as well as anyone around us. And then utility access, again, same thing. People can get in and around that area just fine. And then lighting and ventilation, which I don't think, in my opinion, the shed's big enough or close to anything enough to impede either of those things. As far as the practical difficulties goes, we didn't put it on the south side of our house because our septic tank is on that side. So I've looked into why you don't want to build next to that, and we're like 10 feet within that. So obviously I didn't want to do that, as well as our utility lines run out of our house right here and up towards the north or the west side of our house. So obviously building, digging, or pouring anything there wouldn't be a smart idea. And then we didn't put it on the southeast corner, the bottom there, because as you can see, our whole septic field sits in that area. And when I was looking, Michigan Drain Field had talked about wanting to maintain a minimum distance of 50 feet from that drain field. Otherwise, things like too much weight on the pipes can cause issues there. It can restrict air circulation needed for the bacteria to break down and things like that. It can cause breakages in the pipes. So I obviously wanted to avoid that and not cause any issues there, as well as leaving room for trucks to get in around that area if anything were to ever need to be repaired or fixed. So I didn't want to put it too close to there. I didn't put it directly north of my garage here because if I ever wanted to expand this house, I would do it there. So I didn't want to put something right in the way of a possible expansion one day if that was an option, as well as our driveway runs up there. So it's kind of an area that we use for parking. Living on a main road, we don't really have a lot of room for that. As well as I bought this shed as a cheap
way and nice looking way to house things. And if I were to do that side sits on a very steep slant. So I'd have to build it up with gravel and black dirt. And that was just an investment that I really wasn't trying to make, I guess. So why I put it where it's at. One of the reasons why our house sits up on higher land than our yard does. So when it rains, we don't have any gutters, so the water just pours off the corners of our home and runs down that little hill and then sits in this wet, swampy. So I didn't want to put it close to there and have it be sitting in somewhere that's just going to be muddy and waterlogged all the time if it rains. It's far enough from our septic field. It's away from the property lines. It's aesthetic to the neighbors. And the neighbor that sits kitty corner this way, let's put a shed almost as close to his rear property line as I did. So when I was looking into building this, I saw his and I didn't think there was a problem. So like I stated, I got approval from all three of my neighbors here. They don't care that it's there and they don't care that it gets moved. It's not bugging them. So when I had talked to them about this, a lot of them didn't even know that these existed, these setbacks, or they did know, but they didn't know how big they were. So to me, I guess if these want to be strictly followed and compliance is what you're going for, then making these more well-known to our community will be helpful, whether that's on our tax forms or gets delivered to us when you have a new person moving in. That way we're a little more proactive about things instead of reactive like we are now. I also got support from citizens as well. I have like 10 plus years of Whitewater Township. You have those there, printed out for you. So essentially the top one, Janice, she had stated, to sum up, essentially that traditionally in this township, we find solutions by working together with your neighbors, because we pride ourselves on collaboration. So if I got the support of all of my neighbors, it kind of seems counterproductive for the board to oppose it. As well as a similar instance happened to her. One guy that lives on her street did this, essentially the same thing I did, built a shed in the setback, got neighbor approval, and the board that was in your seats then approved it. And so, again, it kind of just goes off of the fact that this township prides themselves on collaboration with neighbors and making sure everyone's just happy around them. And then Mary had touched on the fact that the shed looks tasteful, it keeps the yard tidy and well-maintained, and why burdening the homeowner with additional stress and inconvenience and expenses when there's more pressing things that we could put our time into. I understand that this is your wheelhouse and you guys know the ins and outs of zoning and everything that comes with that. But if I were to put you in my shoes and as a NICU nurse and ask you to go into my area of expertise and be flawless and not make any mistakes, I would just ask that you give me the same grace and forgiveness that I would give you if I put you outside your comfort zone. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Can we ask questions?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Up to you if you want to read the correspondence that you received. I mean, I know everyone has a copy of it, that's on the word. It's in the packet.
Would any board members like me to read the correspondence?
I've already read them.
You've read them? You read them, okay. So. All right, so everybody says that they've read the correspondence, that I don't need to read the correspondence.
And is that just the two, Ms. Pappas and Ms. Prey, two pieces of correspondence?
There's several in the package.
Oh, plus the
One of them.
the ones that she
That came out of the
provided.
application.
Yes.
You want me to read who they're from, the correspondence?
For the purposes of the recording, I think that would be helpful.
Yes. Janice Pappas was one of them. She lives at 5351 Moore Road. That's the only one I can find.
That one is considered a correspondence.
This one?
There's a form letter that she had several of the neighbors sign. It's
Oh,
included
okay,
in the
right,
packet.
right. Okay,
I got
So
it
each
here,
of those
Roberta.
would be named.
okay. So, Sarah Morgan, okay, who lives at 6130 Cook Road. And James Beaton, who lives at 6175. Elkview Drive? Okay.
There's another one.
One more.
There's one more? Up top.
Okay.
So,
It was back towards the
Sarah?
front where you were at.
James. I don't see it in my packet. So what do you have?
Winsome Nim, and he's at 6184 Cook Road.
I don't have that one. Sorry.
Must have not printed that one.
No. Oh, I'm sorry, I do have it.
The paper that we handed out, there were two on there. One was for
Yes,
Mary Poppins, the Epis, and one was for Mary.
okay. And that's it.
The ones that were included with her application plus
The
two
ones
additional ones that came in.
that came in today. Okay, all right. Okay. Public comment.
Evening, my
Good evening.
name is Denver Baker, the
Denver.
owner of 5950 Cook Road. I am the homeowner that Deb alluded to with the deck that was built. And I also appeared in front of you October 24th of 2024 for a zone board of appeals meeting for a failure to pull a land use permit and whatnot for the deck that's on the pool
Mhm.
or off of the pool. I know you, Carl, were on the board at that time. Roberto, you were
Yeah.
there, and then Skip, obviously you came to my house and whatnot. So everyone else that's here is new. Hang on. Everyone else that is here is new. So either way, I screwed up, didn't pull a land use permit for the deck. I did have approval from the neighbor as well. The neighbor next door is actually my parents. And I built within the 15-foot setback. I did not get approved. So I just want to make sure that we set a precedent here. And I had my parents come in here, make a speech. I am not saying that she should not have this shed. I'm totally in favor of it. I have no problem with that. It doesn't affect me at all. It is a nice looking shed. There's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, you can't have one without the other. You can't say, hey, I can't have it, and then she gets to have it.
Right.
You can't set a precedent with this. I was built within the setback minus 2 feet, right? So you guys did approve the pool for the 1 foot. I have till, what was it, April, Deb?
April 24th.
April 24th to take the deck down, which we're gonna do. We're taking the deck down, we're gonna reapply for a permit and then move it over, so then we're all good and everybody's happy. But I just wanna make sure that we're not setting a precedent saying, oh, it's okay just because the neighbors approved it. I had the neighbors approve it too. They came in, they said, hey, no problem. They spoke in front of the three of you and said it wasn't an issue. So I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. I have no problem with the shed. Not a big deal. But if you're going to approve one and not the other, you set a precedent, which then opens up stuff for what the lady spoke about at the beginning of lawsuits. I'm not threatening that or anything like that. We're going to comply and we are taking the deck down once the snow is gone. But obviously, the biggest thing is, I just want to make sure everybody's on the same page and we do not set a precedent of favoritism and discrimination against some over the others.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
It's like there's nobody on Zoom.
No one on Zoom? We have another comment?
Heidi Volmuth, 8388 Winnie Lane. You guys can't have communications up here. This is a very serious meeting. They are legal. There's open meeting act violations. Get yourself this red book too. There's times you can talk, there's times that you can't, and there's times we can't talk to you unless we state point of order. Just don't want anybody to get in trouble. But Carl, I made you a sign. Holding it up and walk around the room. See what it says, guys? It says, welcome to Whitewater Township. We're a zoned community. Start your homework. Now you know why. My homework was 7 hours. Because you have to go back and look. Well, I didn't have to spend a lot of time reading your minutes. The minutes from the last meeting are very confusing, but that's for another time. The definition of a variance is precious. It should be locked in a box. Shouldn't be given away unless you can't find any other way to get in that box. There's several ways I can get in this box. If I can get in it, then I don't need to be here. It costs almost $1,000 to have all of you sit in this room. It's expensive. We don't charge enough. Because it's easier to pay $250 to come here than it is to pay $500 and have my permit and pay $250 to come here. I don't want to say our variances are getting like Tic Tacs, kind of like being at a party and you shake it and everybody wants one. But when you start giving them away, everybody's watching. A lot of my homework was looking at the 3 houses together. What else could these people want to do? They have a shed. You can't put stuff in the setbacks. There's all kinds of reasons why. Start with the zoning. Start with this word right here, Carl. Zoned. Now the rules and the regulations come. When I get pulled, excuse me, when I get pulled over by the police, I have to obey every freaking law. If I have a conceal and carry, my hands must be on the dashboard. My license and my concealed carry must be present. I must notify the officer if I have a weapon in the car. Rules, more rules. And you know what? Yep, sometimes we're ignorant. Sometimes we don't know about the rules. I'm going to tell you something I told every single kid that I coached, that I mentored, and even my own children know this. Actions have consequences. If you're going to create the action, be prepared to pay the consequence. Sorry, but you know your consequences. There's even you even put a cost in there. But if I can get in that box, I think I can get in that box like 9 different ways. That's 9 different reasons she shouldn't be here. Okay, I have to follow the law too. And if I make a mistake, I got to suffer the consequences. But I was taught a long time ago when I stood up and asked about what variances were and how come I couldn't get one. And I was told because almost 85% of the variances that are asked for are denied because you can get in the box. You already gave too many keys away to the box, gentlemen. Wendy, you weren't here. So if my homework's correct, this is an easy one. No.
Thank you.
Chairman, may I speak to this lady?
Not now.
Okay, fine, thanks.
No Zoom.
I think you can close your public hearing. And time.
Okay, do I need do I need a motion to close the public hearing? Who motions?
I will.
Okay,
I will is,
Eric.
Sorry.
Eric and second is by Carl. Carl Rubel, okay.
yeah,
Eric Gall,
no.
Dick Gall, okay. I made a mistake when I wrote in an alternate, and I can't get it out of my brain, okay,
Was
Yeah.
Boyd and Roble correct?
Yes.
yes.
So we probably have.
Go ahead with your discussion.
Yes,
I
let
need
me
a roll
read,
Call vote
need a roll
first, please. All right.
let me read the rationale before we get into discussion here.
Excuse me, Roberto, I need a roll call vote for that motion before you move forward.
Close the hearing.
Well, it was Dick Boyd and Carl.
Right,
Rubel.
now we need to actually vote.
No, we need to go around.
Oh, okay,
You
we
can
need to
just
vote on
Go
it.
by name.
Carl
Yes.
Rubel,
Will be, yes.
Dick, yes, okay.
Hold on.
Skip Lake?
Dick,
Yes.
Okay. Roble, Boyd, Lake,
Yes.
okay.
Yes, for Robert Garza.
Wendy.
Sorry, Wendy.
Yes. Hoaxma. Thank you.
And the time is 7:50.
Thank you.
Okay, back to where I was here. Okay, this is part of the standards and procedures. Before we get into discussion, okay, the rationale and the reasons why a conclusion is made shall contain the following. If the property cannot be used in conformance with the ordinance without the requested variance. If the problem is due to unique situation not shared in common with nearby property owners. 3, if granting the variance would not alter the essential character of the area. And 4, if the problem requiring the variance was not self-created. So all 4 of these points, okay, must be true. Or in the affirmative, or a variance shall not be granted. Okay, discussion. Carl?
I would prefer to go a little later as a representative of the
Okay,
planning commission after I heard some of the other comments.
Skip Lake.
Well, I couldn't hear Carl, I'm sorry.
He said he would rather go later.
Well, it is self-created. I do know that it's back there out of the way where away from the house, the neighbors are for it. It's a neutral color, which looks all right. But like what's been said already today in this meeting, we're gonna be setting a precedent. And if we have to set a precedent to make things easier for people to live on their own property, then I think that's what we'll have to do, is set a precedent. That's all I got to say about that.
Did you visit the site?
I did.
Okay, so you visited the site.
I visited them for 25 years.
Any other discussion? Anything else do you want to include?
No, I think I'm finished. Thank you.
Okay. Okay,
Yep. Is this the time I can ask Michaela?
All the questions you want.
What I thought. So-
Public hearing is closed.
Michaela, you mentioned the county is looking into your situation. Can you help us with that at all? I mean, there is a scenario where we could move one way or another and the county could do something that would go in the other direction, no?
The county,
The county cannot approve a building permit without approval from the township zoning department.
and if you're gonna speak.
She had told me not to go to the county before this, which obviously makes sense. But someone called, I'm not sure if it was her.
I contacted them. But alert them to red tag you that you had built something without their approval or township approval.
Yeah, so I guess I'm just confused then why you didn't tell me to, or why you told me not to go.
Oh, it didn't pay for you to go. They can't give you a building permit because you do not have a zoning.
No, I
permit.
understand that.
Okay, well, you can go to the county anytime you want, but the county should have informed you that without a zoning permit, you cannot get a
Yeah,
building
I knew
permit.
that. You told me that.
Yeah, I know, but you still went to the county, but
No, I didn't. I went to the county because I got the notice.
I made sure the county was alerted to the fact that you had construction on your property.
Yeah.
That didn't have a zoning permit or a building permit, and they needed to be aware.
No, I understand
Because
that.
you're not in compliance with the county or the township.
I understand that. I'm just saying that they delivered paperwork to my house that said, contact me within 5 days of this notice. So of course I did that. But she had just told me not to go to them until this was done for obvious reasons. So then I got that and I was just confused. But, so yeah, I can't do anything without
Okay,
the result of this.
I'm good. Thank you.
Did you visit the site?
Yes, I went by it.
Any,
Yes.
any discussion on that?
No, I understand the applicant's concern, you know, it's not obnoxious and obviously the parent or the neighbors are not concerned about it, but as the laws suggest, and as pointed out here by other speakers today, everything would indicate that we should not be entertaining approving a variance.
Carl?
Our duty is to enforce the ordinances wherever possible. I just totally conflicted on this, but the rules are the rules. They did not get a permit, and I can understand that maybe they didn't know that, but still, they have to have a permit. And if this was 1 or 2 feet into the setbacks, that's one thing, but this just can't. I can see no, it was, the problem was caused by the owner. There is no reason on that property that it could not be put within the setback requirements. So those 2 reasons alone says that this should not be approved. The fact that the neighbors support it or not doesn't matter. They don't write the ordinances. And if we do let every little area in the township decide that whether they're going to comply to the ordinances or not, then we might as well not have ordinances. So, I really feel bad for the property owner, but everything that was done wrong. Had they gone to the zoning administrator first, they could have been given some direction on what they could do and not do. And I just, it is so far over the limits. Yeah, I can't make any kind of an exception on this case.
Thank you, Carl. Wendy?
I have a couple questions. If you could answer those, Michaela.
Speak in your microphone.
Sure. So I understand that you didn't understand that you didn't know you had to come see us and get a permit. Why did you decide where you wanted to put it? And did you actually decide or did your hunter decide?
No, I decided.
You
I just
decided?
wanted it out of the way.
Yeah. Can it fit a car? Is it big enough to fit a car inside there?
The doors aren't big enough, no. I mean, maybe if the doors weren't on there.
Would it be resolved for your yard to be tidy and maintained if you had a garage? You don't currently have a garage? So in
No,
the
I
future,
do.
you have a garage?
I do have a garage.
Okay.
It's just, there's
Mhm.
stuff in it. And
Yeah, I understand too that the neighbors aren't too worried about it, but until you were to sell it or the other persons would move in, they might care. And I saw in your application too, you didn't think there was a safety concern, like, if people needed to get in between there, that kind of thing. But if your neighbor did have a shed too, that was too close, that would create an issue. I understand that you're a nurse, so I just want to describe it to you in your nurse standards that there's protocols and that if you would give drugs without orders. It's the same concept. Thank you.
Good analogy. Thank you.
I got a question, yes. Mr. Chairman, addressing a chairman each time that I can. We got a problem, right?
We have to identify the findings of fact as well. We've done discussion, but we need to itemize. Like 1 through 5, 6, however many, itemize your findings of fact very clearly. We need to get that done as well. Based on your discussions, itemize your findings of fact.
Am I okay yet in discussion?
Yes.
That's what I thought. Okay, we do have a problem. I'm not an attorney, but we're talking about a building, correct? It's too close to the line? That's right? How about if we move the building off the cement slab and leave the slab there? We're not talking about a slab. That could be run over. How about moving that building over?
Yeah, I've thought of that. I think they said that somewhere in the documents that it's glued to the slab. If that could be, yeah, as far as I know, the fact that the slab's there would not be a problem, I don't think.
Because it's not a structure.
Perfectly.
Correct. That's what I thought. So maybe if she moved the building over, she'd be all right. That's all I got to say. Just give it something to think about.
Okay. Well, she's asking for a dimensional variance because that relates to practical difficulty. So
There was no practical difficulty.
Not in.
well, I didn't say there was, okay. I'm saying that's what she's asking for. Correct? Correct, Carl?
What?
She's asking for a dimensional variance, and that's based on having a practical difficulty.
No, it's not.
not?
That was built in that location when there was no practical difficulty with meeting the ordinance to be within the setback requirements. If there had been, such as a creek running through the property or a marshy area, that's entirely different. But there was no practical difficulty.
I'm not saying there was. I'm just saying that a dimensional variance is based on the fact that there's a practical difficulty. I'm not saying that that's what she is facing. Okay,
No,
she's not. No,
there was no.
I'm just giving you the definition of a dimensional variance. Okay. So, so the findings include that there is no practical difficulty on this particular site. That's one,
Make a motion
okay.
that that's difficulty, get everybody to agree to that.
Do we have to have a motion for that?
Every single finding.
Okay,
we
so we have to take a vote for that?
You do.
Okay,
Everyone has to-
Carl,
Pardon?
we need a
Motion
motion,
and second.
we need a motion to cover the findings of facts that there was no practical difficulty.
How do I word? I make a motion that there was no finding of a practical difficulty.
Okay, I second the motion. Support? Wendy supports, okay.
You seconded it.
Oh,
Additional
What-
discussion,
yeah.
and then take a vote.
And before you vote, Carl, your motion ends with, there is no practical difficulty, period. Is there any other verbiage after that or no? That's where it ends. Is that correct?
Yes, there was no practical difficulty.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a first.
I'll
and a
s-
second.
also, she, okay. Do we vote on it? Carl?
I just did. Yes. there's no
Wendy?
practical
Yes.
difficulty.
Skip? Yes, okay.
I'm trying to keep up. All your names are new to me tonight.
Mhm.
Again, if we could go with last names, that is very helpful for me to keep up. So I heard in the order was Roble,
Hooksman. Garza.
Yes,
thank you.
okay, the next one, okay. There was no permit for building the building, the structure. Okay. Findings, we could say two, findings two. Okay. Motion? Motion that there was no permit submitted. There wasn't.
I move that there were, the finding is that there were no township or county permits acquired for building this shed.
Okay, I second that. Vote. Wendy,
Agreed.
agreed? Carl?
What is the motion? I didn't quite, I want to make sure I understand.
The motion is that she did not, okay, receive a permit to build a structure
From either the county or the town.
from either the county or the township. That's findings number two.
And
Not sure what I'm voting yes to say that she did not,
You agree that that's a finding of
that did
fact?
not,
Yes.
that she went, no, look.
You agree
I-
that
I
the
don't like
findings,
way to treat it. No, she should, she was required.
That she did not.
She did not.
yeah,
She should not receive a variance because she did not receive the required township and county permits.
Carl, you're doing your findings of fact at this point.
Okay, but
You're doing your findings of fact.
Yeah,
We're not-
okay.
We're not resolving it,
Okay,
we're doing
okay.
findings of fact,
all
and
right,
you're just
Okay.
determining what those findings
Agree
are.
with that statement.
okay, so.
and was that seconded by Mr. Garza?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank
So-
you.
So the finding of fact is she did not receive the required permits.
Yes.
Okay, I vote yes, then. That's true.
where are we at there?
A roll call vote.
Roll call vote.
It'd be easiest if we went around the table like.
Actually, it is easy. However, with roll call votes, you do need to stagger the vote each time. it leads back to situations where if you go in the same order, there could be undue influence. Possibly, so you do need to stagger how you start each roll call vote. So we started with him.
Would you be willing to call out the last name for them to get the yes or no?
Well, I've got a great roll call list vote sheet that I can provide that helps go through it. We started with Roble last time, so you might just move one over this time.
Wendy?
Agreed. My last name was really helpful for me.
Yeah.
Go ahead and call last names. Then I will hear that as I'm typing.
Koseman?
Koksema.
Kosema. Wendy Kosema.
Oksema,
Okay. Yes.
Yes.
Robert Garza, yes.
Lake, yes.
And
Give your
Boyd-
last name too. We could give our last name also, right?
Right.
Be-
And Boyd, yes.
and then it's back to Roble.
It's back to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Also, Michaela submitted an application for, let me see if I can find it here. Oh, an agricultural building code exemption affidavit. I'm not sure why she believed that she submitted that affidavit. Can I ask her? Michaela, why do you believe that you needed that type of an affidavit?
I'm not for sure what you're referring to.
It's in your
Your application.
application.
About agricultural building code exemption affidavit. Meaning that you're gonna have an agricultural purpose, meaning pertaining to, connected with, engaging in ag tillage, characterized by the active business of cultivating, using land, soil, production of crops for the use of animals and humans, but you fill this out as part of your application. And you're not in an agricultural zone, you're in a residential one zone, so this doesn't apply unless you had a farm or agricultural property. That you were doing husbandry or pasturing, you know, having dairy cattle, farming, horticulture, floriculture, viticulture, poultry, husbandry.
I just thought it was part of the application.
You just thought you needed to
fill it out.
too. Yeah. Mhm. Hmm. All right, I'm looking for another finding of facts.
The need for the variance is self-created.
Number 3. It was self-created. Right. Can I have a motion on that? That it was self-created? Skip, okay.
Lake,
Thank you.
Koksema second.
Thank you.
Dick?
I support that.
Okay.
Boyd supports.
Okay,
All right,
I've already got a support.
do we need a roll
for
call
the
now?
motion?
Okay.
In Hoaxma.
Okay,
She seconded that, so I. don't
Robert
need a roll.
Garza, yes. Okay. Skip?
yes.
Lake,
Yes, Lake.
thank you.
Boyd, yes.
Yes.
Roble,
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
Dick, we need another finding.
Sufficient acreage to place the shed elsewhere inside the building envelope.
So there was, in other words, there was space, somewhere else on the property that she could have placed the building. Okay. So the motion is that she could have she could have placed it at a different location.
That is the motion.
That is the motion.
And who's making that?
Robert Garza.
Riddle will second it.
Vote. We start with you, Dick.
Support?
Nope, it's already supported. Are you voting yes?
Voting.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, that's all right.
What was that? Carl?
Where are we?
We're voting on the fact that she could have placed it somewhere else on the property. She had room for it.
Yes.
Wendy?
Yes.
Yes, Robert Garza.
Blake, yes.
Thank you.
How many findings do we have?
That was 4.
4. Is that sufficient? Do we believe that's sufficient for a decision?
Effects of property in the vicinity.
If the problem is due to a unique situation not shared in common with nearby property owners. Is this a unique situation? No, you wanna motion that?
Sure. Could you read that finding of fact for me again, please?
If the problem is due to a unique situation not shared in common with nearby property owners. So is this a unique situation?
No.
It is
Wendy said. Wendy
I
mentioned
make a
it.
motion that this property has no unique situation that would cause it to be different than the neighbors.
I second the motion.
One second.
We already second. Okay, so we need a count. Start with Skip Blake. Skip Blake says yes.
Boyd, yes.
Carl,
Yes.
Yes.
Robert Garza, yes. Yeah,
The rear setback for an R1 property is 30 feet.
thank you.
The side yard setback for an
15,
R1 property is
15,
15
yeah,
feet.
okay.
Those are both facts, and this is an R1
Mhm.
property. Those are 2 other findings.
Do you repeat the second half of that for me?
You can do it as
Yeah,
separate findings.
so the motion would be that she wasn't within the ordinance or,
So that parcel, so it's in an R1 district,
okay,
the rear setback is 30 feet. That's a fact.
all right, so,
She's encroaching on it. But the fact is, that's what the setback is for that zoning district.
I move that we make a finding or
finding, right?
document a finding that the applicant's property is in the R1 zoning district. The rear setback is 30 feet and the side setbacks are 15 feet. And she is in violation of the side and rear setback.
Anybody support?
I'll second that. Sorry, Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I?
A vote? Carl, you want to start the vote?
Would you repeat you're going to the opposite of everything on here, which is causing me a problem.
We're just doing the findings.
Yeah,
We
not-
want to establish the findings.
Okay, yes, it is within the front and rear setbacks. Is that correct? So yes is the answer.
Oksma, yes.
Garza, yes.
Blake, yes.
And Boyd, yes.
Thank you.
I believe we have sufficient findings, okay? I would like to close the public hearing. Not yet.
Already did that.
You already did.
Oh, you already did that.
It's a decision. If
Okay.
it comes to some kind of a consensus on this variance request based on the findings. You need to make another motion.
Another motion to
Deny the request.
deny the request. Okay, so the motion is we're going to deny the request because of these. How many findings that we have? 5, 6,
6.
6 findings. All right.
Findings of fact.
Findings of the facts, yes. So that's the motion.
Also in your motion, Mr. Garza, because there is a case number to this ZBA 2025-01 Hazarden, sorry, if I got it wrong. Is that part of your motion as well, naming the case number?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'll second that motion.
Boyd?
Yep.
Thank you.
Vote.
Yes.
Wendy. Yes. Yes, for Garza.
No, for Lake.
Yes for Boyd.
Yes, for Rubel. Make one little point. Well, you're the chairman tonight.
I'm the chairman for tonight. Yes, just tonight.
Okay, in the rules, the chairman votes last.
That's right.
That's one of the rules.
Right, yeah.
In the good book.
I apologize
Just
for,
read.
no,
today.
no, I know that, but I
Okay.
overstepped.
Uh,
Did we finish the count?
Yes,
Okay.
and the motion did carry.
Motion carried.
And the motion carries. Other matters.
Skipped ahead one. Approval of the minutes.
Great.
What did I forget about number 8?
Approval of these minutes from October.
Item number 8 on your agenda.
The red one.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a little precursor on these minutes.
For the October 24th meeting. When I reviewed the minutes, we had a change in the clerk's office and a few other things with the voting here in the township. So when I reviewed the draft minutes, it appeared that a lot of the comments and some of the verbiage in the minutes from the October 24th meeting were taken from a special meeting that was held last summer. And just a few names were changed and a few things were adjusted, but the minutes did not accurately reflect what happened at that actual meeting. I contacted the township attorney to find out what steps to take. I know that Skip had a recording of the meeting, but Skip doesn't know where the recording is. It was given to Cheryl Goss. Cheryl Goss did not leave the recording. Lindy Hoaxma is our new clerk. She does not have a copy of the recording nor a copy, even have the recorder. So I'm not sure who compiled the minutes. So I did my recollection of that meeting and I did my comments in red. When I contacted the township attorney, since we didn't have a recording and no other information to go off of, he said it was appropriate for me to go ahead and do it in red. And if the zoning board of appeals, when you review the minutes, want to make changes or accept my changes, that would be up to you. That's why there's so much red ink on those minutes. Thanks. By the way, when you do these minutes and these get finalized, the next step from someone who is denied an appeal is to take it to circuit court. So these minutes become public record and become a court record. So it's really critical. And I thank you for earlier taking the time to actually define your findings of fact and discussing each of those items, because that is critical to any kind of an appeal that goes to a higher court in the state of Michigan. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the approval of the minutes for October 24th, 2024? No discussion? Do we need a motion to start that
Need a motion to approve as amended.
as amended? I'd like to motion that we approve the meetings from October
Minutes.
24th, 2024,
As amended,
as amended,
by the zoning administrator.
as amended by the zoning administrator.
By you.
Yeah, but we haven't approved it yet. Do we have a count?
I'll second that.
Wendy,
Yes.
you approve?
Yes.
I approve.
Wait, approve.
Blake approved.
So moved.
Before you move on, since I was not the recording secretary back in October, Secretary Lake, will you be submitting these to the township? The clerk does this on your board. I just want to verify, I'm not the one to make
I
these
will.
changes.
Yeah.
Since I don't have.
I'll work
Okay.
with Wendy today.
Okay, CA and
Yeah.
clerk will.
This is just a
Amended
really
to
unique
that.
month that we didn't have a recording secretary.
Thank you. I only asked Skip because his name was at the bottom of them. Okay, thanks a lot.
At first.
Okay, back to other matters. Election of officers. Is that done by a motion first? Okay. So nominations, where do we start with the members? Okay, so where do we start generally with secretary or the chairman,
The chair.
the chairperson? Okay.
5 people are in the game.
Okay, so
Do we start by,
election of officers, we're starting with the chair.
Sure.
Any nominations?
I would like to nominate Roberto Garza. I've gotten to know him. I've gotten to know a little bit about his background. He's been involved in committees, commissions before. And I think he would be excellent.
Any other nominations?
Since I can't be it, I would like to ask anyone else if they want to do the job.
That'll be a good question. All right.
Yeah.
Anyone on the board would like to consider themselves as the chair? Dick Boyd,
No, thank you. I'm the new guy.
Skip. Skip
Thanks,
Lake,
I think
nothing.
you'd be all right.
Do we have a motion to appoint? Is that the right wording, to appoint
We're a
here?
second for this nomination,
Yeah,
and then
so-
Okay, okay, so do we have a second?
I would second.
Okay.
Lloyd?
Yes.
Thank you.
We need to vote on that? Wendy?
Yes.
Yes, late guess.
Boyd, yes.
Rubel, yes.
Need your own vote.
Garza, yes.
even if you voted no, it would still.
And do we know the term for this position? Right now?
Till next January.
Oh, it's an annual term
This is an
On this
annual
board.
term, not 2 years. All right.
for the 25-26 years.
We'll get to the bylaws later.
Okay. Do we have any nominations for the vice chair? Any nominations? Would anybody like to consider being a vice chair?
I could do it. I'd be willing to do it.
Dick Boyd, volunteers.
Second.
Okay,
Skip Lake volunteers as the support.
Who made the motion?
Just supporting.
You made the
Garza.
motion? Okay, sorry, I didn't hear that,
Okay.
okay. Garza and Lake,
Like supported.
Okay, vote for having Skip Lake as.
No.
Sorry,
I just supported.
You almost got
Dick Boyd
scared.
as vice chair. The vote, Carl,
Yes.
Fuchsima, yes.
Garza, yes.
Like, yes.
Boyd, yes.
thank you.
And the final one is secretary. Do we have any nominations for secretary? Nominations? No nominations?
She's trying to say my name, which I would be willing to do that.
Okay,
Yes.
so Hoaxma volunteered herself, okay,
Yes.
and I will support that.
I'll nominate Wendy Hooks to be secretary. Boyd,
Can't be chair. You can do that.
second.
Dick Boyd nominated, and I second. Vote,
Blake, yes.
Boyd, yes.
Rubel, yes.
Gar-
Yes.
Garza, yes.
You give me about 10 seconds to catch up. Thanks, and I've got this right from you here next. Thanks.
Okay. The resolution of ZBA 25-01. 2025, 2026 meeting schedule.
I move we support the resolution ZBA 2501, the meeting schedule for year 2025, 2026.
As presented,
Sorry,
as presented.
as presented.
Thank
Yep.
you.
Blake, support that.
Roll call,
Boyd, yes.
Blake, yes.
Garza, whoops, I'm last, okay.
Yes.
Rubel, yes.
Garza, yes.
We need to fill that in on the resolution sheet, and then that needs to be signed and goes to the board. Hey, we need to take that to the board. If you don't mind.
Did you provide one of those to me?
Yep. your packet.
There's the spare one.
I have it.
I have a spare.
This is-
How is this one?
this one.
Yeah, you need the who first, the motion and the second.
It was
Who
Boyd
made the,
and
mo-
Lake.
who made the motion?
Boyd
I
and
did.
Lake.
Boyd, okay.
Up to.
Yeah, I'll take it. I can do it if you want me to. I'll just start. my-
Well, we'll have to sign it. You have to sign it.
No,
Oh, should we go? Oh,
Yeah.
you can sign for us, or?
no, it's just that, oh. I don't think you have to sign right there, no. No, good. Oh, good.
We don't have to sign that. one.
You just have to do a roll call.
We're good, okay.
Yeah. call.
Then do that.
And these are all unique things that you do just in your January meeting.
Okay,
They're all the business items.
Skip, we need a roll call for this one. For the meetings.
I thought
We did it.
We did.
Oh, we did it, okay. Are we finished with that one? Okay, review of the bylaws. Everybody read the bylaws? there's some language on bylaws in letter H.
Which section?
Letter H, or special meetings, applicants to the zoning board of appeals may request a special meeting. And on the next sentence, it begins with the business of the zoning board of appeals may perform, shall be conducted at a public meeting held in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. See. The business of the zoning board of appeals may perform, shall be conducted at a public meeting. Does anybody see an error in the language here?
No word of. As the business, the zoning board of appeals.
The zoning board of appeals,
Says that.
okay, the business, we don't need the business.
Zoning board of appeals may perform, shall be conducted.
Read it without putting that of
Uh,
there in your mind.
To me, it sounds like zoning board of appeals may be conducted at a public meeting. So I don't think we need perform shall.
Shall.
Reads out. Yeah. So just,
Conduct a public meeting or conduct a hearing at a public
The
meeting.
zoning board of appeals may, conduct.
It says may perform, shall be conducted.
yeah,
So these bylaws were adopted in
Okay.
2020.
here it is. The business of the zoning board of appeals may be conducted at a public meeting in compliance. I don't think we need held there either,
Or the word shall.
or the word shall, no.
So before we get too far down here, these bylaws were adopted by the township board. Can we change them? Can,
They're reviewed by you every January.
okay.
You do submit them to the board. And they'll put their adoption if they want to adopt it. But you review them, make sure they're meeting what you need to accomplish.
Okay. Sorry, Robert.
Well, it's okay. So I think the language would be correct that we say the business of the zoning board of appeals may be conducted at a public meeting in compliance, and then the rest of it is okay. Does that sound better to you? Shall be conducted.
I'll take up the mayor. Leave it, shall be.
Okay.
Would you read it exactly as you're changing it for me, please?
Business. The business of zoning board of appeals. Oh, we don't need the word may either. Shall be conducted at a public meeting in compliance with the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you.
I'll read that
You
back
add
to-
up there as well. Get that. The business of the zoning board of appeals
He-
is missing that.
He did not say that.
Correct, of the zoning board.
Okay.
So she's gonna read it back to us, right?
Mhm.
Well, the business of the zoning board of appeals shall be conducted at a public meeting in compliance with the Open Meetings Act.
Correct. Does anyone have any other adjustments that they want to make to it?
G, the zoning administrator before the applicant presents block 3 and 4 under G, public hearings.
Which section?
G is in
Public hearings.
Section,
public hearing, page 2.
so section 2G, 2G.
Do we need a motion on each one of these corrections or adjustments? No,
We want at the end.
one at the end.
Could you repeat it to me since I was looking for which
Under G,
section?
public hearings.
Yeah.
Make 3, 4, and 4, 3. This pertains to-
Got it.
Does anybody see any other changes we should make?
Section 5. Letter B. Very last sentence. States alternates shall be notified to attend the meeting anytime a regular member will be present. I don't think that gives our alternates enough time. They are copied on all the information. And I would suggest that so that the alternates actually gain some knowledge and experience of the ZBA, that they attend the meetings if possible. So rather than notify them to attend, because if someone comes in and has a conflict of interest, we're not gonna have time to call them and say, oh, hey, we need you to come over for this ZBA hearing tonight, because we got a conflict of interest, and we don't have a forum. So I think it's important for the alternates to actually attend. So, but that's kind of up to you guys, this is a suggestion.
Maybe word it, the alternates can step in when someone's absent, but they need to be present.
Yeah,
Do we need a vote on that?
I just eliminate that sentence.
Okay,
Something you guys can discuss. Does anyone else have any concerns? Is it a good idea?
I think it's a good idea, because I was wondering how that was gonna work, provided somebody didn't make it tonight.
Yeah,
You need to have someone there in order.
we're gonna call you at 5 after 7.
Yeah, and I can tell you,
Fly right over here.
yeah,
Seriously.
I think that's a good idea, at least.
Well,
I think it's a good idea.
letter E actually talks about alternates too. Maybe called to sit as a regular member as provided in the zoning ordinance.
But if they're not in the audience to come and sit, it's
I
gonna
think
be,
you're saying if there's a conflict of interest last minute,
Yeah.
you would know to be able to sit down.
yeah. Or if there's a
Or if
really
somebody
bad
didn't come,
snowstorm and 2
yeah.
people can't make it, but the alternates in the audience, it's real easy to pull them in.
You're saying that alternates will have the same attendance policy then?
I think she's just saying that sentence is unnecessary, like it's,
Mm-hmm.
they're only saying that they'll be notified if a regular member will be absent, there's no point in saying that, just notify everybody of every meeting. Correct?
Yeah, I give the ZBA packet to every member, the board and the alternate. So. All the members get it. Just so they're prepared that if they do need to step up, they can. If they would be paid or not would be a board decision at the township board level.
They are.
Ask that. But I think it's important for them to get the experience of observing it and going through the process. It gets them more familiar with the ordinances and the various situations that could arise. Good experience, good training on the job.
Any other changes?
So is that sentence being deleted?
Yes. You need a motion to approve these changes? Yes, all right, so. I move that we approve the changes made tonight on the bylaws?
I support that.
Okay.
Please.
Lake supports. Count? Start with Dick.
Yes. Boyd, yes.
Legal, yes.
Folksma, yes.
Garza, yes.
Yes. Well, oh. I'm sorry, I didn't hear. No, Lake, yes.
Budget for the 2025, 2026 year. Everybody get a chance to look at this, to read this over? I'd like to make a motion to keep the the budget for the 2025, 2026 as is.
Approving as presented is,
Yes.
Approven as presented. Approved as presented. Anybody support that?
Support it. Lake supports it.
thank you.
Want to start the vote, Skip?
Lake, yes.
Boyd, yes.
Rubel, yes.
Folksma, yes.
Garza, yes. Correspondence received. Are those the same as the previous? These correspondence?
Response would be something, a letter that you received,
Oh, okay.
communication from another township that would pertain to you or would
Pertain to me.
What's going on.
That I received. Or any board
ZBA
members.
in
Okay,
general.
all right.
Independent of
Independent of
the,
the hearing.
a hearing that was held. Yes.
And I haven't received any additional correspondence, but you'll probably get updates from your board members, from the planning commission and the township board.
Zoning board members. What,
They had questions this was in your bylaws that this was part of your agenda, so. Is this, it may be opportunity if they have questions, comments, concerns, anything they want to discuss
comments,
amongst
okay.
themselves.
okay.
I'd like to point out that in the bylaws, it's a voice vote, not roll call every time, unless someone points it out that they need it. I might make it a little faster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, we may not be able to do that with Zoom too. They may want to hear the roll call.
But that's our bylaws, say that.
Well, our bylaws don't say that we're on Zoom either. You wanna
Should
add
we,
that?
yeah, I think that needs to be added then.
Okay, go back to bylaws.
Make sure you're gonna follow the way to dismiss the meeting, that the Zoom requires a roll call vote, but not a second. It's required, it just needs a motion to adjourn the meeting. You have the motion to adjourn the meeting, but you do not require a second.
Thank you.
Wendy, did you say by last state roll call?
Not necessary unless asked for by a member. Voice vote.
For any vote is what you're saying? Even ones involving finance?
Voting shall be by voice vote. A roll call vote shall be required if requested by any zoning board of appeals member or directed by the chairperson. Everyone shall vote, but the chairperson shall be last.
Didn't say anything about finances or expenses.
Can I move on? Okay. Report of planning commission representative. Report.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Somewhere else. The planning commission has finalized the new master plan and submitted it to other townships and had comment back from one East Bay. And we have scheduled a meeting for February 5th, I believe it is, for the public to come in and comment on the master plan.
Good.
Okay. Are you the township representative?
No.
Board representative?
No.
No, okay, okay, so report of township board representative.
That'd be me.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And I don't have one because this is my first meeting, but I will be sure to do that in the future.
You want Carl to write a report going forward, Mr. Chairman? That would be included in the packet.
I think that would be a good idea.
Can you do a written report for next time?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay. Report of zoning administrator.
Back. I just love this job. It's only 9 o'clock. Hey, we're doing great. In your package, you'll see my zoning report. I did an annualized report on everything that was done during 2024. You'll be happy to know that over the last 5 years, I did a nice little chart and a pie chart as well. But we had 85 land use permits that were given out in the last 12 months. I think I'm on number 4 as of today. Going forward in this year, we had 4 site plan and special use reviews in 2024. In 20, we had 0. In 2021, we had 2. 2022, we had 3. We had none in 2023, but in 2024, there were 4 of them. Appeals are kind of flat. There were 0 in 20, 2 in 2021. There were 3 appeals in 2022, 4 appeals in 2023, and 3 last year, 2024. So this is our first one for 2025. We did 15 land divisions / combinations of parcels this past year, which is the most we've had in the last 5 years. I kind of did a trend on it just to see how much more activity is going on in the area. My report got updated and sent out to kind of everybody, but it's been a pretty active, very active in the community. I think there were 21 new homes going in and about 30, a little over 30 accessory structures going up. As well as the master plan being approved, or at least in the final stages of being approved. There's a public hearing on February 5th with the Planning Commission that if any of you want to attend and give comments of the master plan, it is out on the website for review. And hopefully that's going to get approved very soon. The Planning Commission also put the consolidated zoning ordinances together as well as the zoning district map. So those 2 items are in the process of being finalized by the Planning Commission. They're hoping to do some large maps and position them around the building. The consolidated zoning ordinance, once it's published in the newspaper, goes into effect, I believe, 7 days after it's published. So we will have a new zoning ordinance. So all of the old article numbers we've been using have been modified and changed in this consolidation effort. It's incorporated all of the amendments that have been done over the last, I don't even know how many years, probably 15, 20 years. All of those amendments have been compiled into one place. So we have one zoning ordinance that I get to learn all new numbers and new article numbers, which all of you will get to learn them as well. So, but anyway, you might want to familiarize yourself with those, but any new appeals that we see, will have these new ordinances reflected, and draft will be removed from all of that information. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Is it correct that the content of the zoning ordinance is not, the individual sections of the ordinance have not really changed? It's just, we're reorganizing how it's all put together.
Kind of reorganized it, but consolidated amendments. There've been changes, bits and pieces of different ordinances, like in our site plan review and special use was all one chapter, one article, and that's been separated into site plan reviews and special uses. So it's more organized. There's a lot more charting in it. It still is going to lay out based on your zoning district, what's allowed, what your setbacks are. All of that stuff is still going to be in there. It's just incorporating all the amendments that have been done over the years. You see these long amendments or resolutions that get placed in the newspaper. Some of those didn't quite make it all the way to the draft version that was posted on the website. So draft will be off the zoning ordinance, and we'll actually have a good one, and hopefully that should happen in the next month. So I'm hoping in the next 30 days.
Good.
Okay.
And then one other thing is there are so many different definitions over the years. So those have all been tried to make them all the same, or they should be the same, because whether it's a parcel or a lot and things over the years, there was just a lot of stuff in there that was different because it was done at different times. So the definitions, I think, are going to be in one place. And hopefully, they'll all be the same in the future.
And then each of the ordinances are actually going to be fine tuned and looked at to see if we need to improve upon them, if they need to be modified to be brought up to state statutes. Like our signs ordinance needs to be brought in compliance with what the laws are with the state.
And that's appropriate after the approval of the mass.
Yes, once we have a good zoning map and we have a good zoning ordinance, then you can start doing amendments and reviewing for changes, like, should we review or should we amend what our side yard setbacks are? Are our rear setbacks too lenient? Are they not strict enough? Should we have a green belt on the waterfront? There's a lot of things that could change. Should we add things? Should we remove things? And do we have things that just need to be tightened up a little bit? So that's where you start attending your planning commission meetings and you get involved in the process. Thanks.
I got a question.
Yeah.
Gonna redo all the names on these maps too without your new one?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think, not, these are all records. I mean, these are all
They're
good
all
records.
but-
But when you get a new zoning district map, I mean, you've got new property lines where people have combined, have taken out the railroads have been incorporated into parcels and stuff. We got new drawings and new lines, and we're going away from the meets and bounds that are in the beginning of the zoning ordinance. And we actually have it color coded and as accurate as we can get it today. And that's where we may need to, make revisions.
What
Yep.
I'm getting at is the map we had up here last month. Or the last meeting,
Mhm.
half the roads weren't right in the right place.
Oh, we got a new map.
That's what I'm asking.
It's coming. It's still draft.
Okay.
It's still in draft. I do have a copy of it in my office if you want to see it.
Thank you.
Public comment.
Heidi Valmuth, 8388 Winnie Lane. I've been doing this for 10 years, so I'll just start wearing a name tag. Next month, I will be an implant in northern Michigan for 10 years. Although I visited here for my entire life. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not have this book, please get it. Tells you about variances, tells you about what form to fill out. Read it page to page, upside down, backwards, forwards, whatever you gotta do. Nice job on the meeting. But really nice job. We kept our keys where we're supposed to keep them, and that's the most important thing. And you can hate my guts. I'm really sorry. I've been in your predicament. It does. I'm gonna use the word suck because it really does. But unfortunately, you gotta know the rules and regulations. And if you really want a good read, read that master plan. Also, somebody here made a comment. Please don't talk to me because you can't talk to me while I stand up here. But I need you to let you know that that new zoning map, the taxpayers spent quite a lot of money on it, almost $8,000, and every point was resurveyed. So if somebody does see a mistake on there, you need to contact Randy Melnick and let him know immediately, because it's going to be printed soon. And if you really want to help us out, read that master plan, because that's going to be in print and voted on soon too. Don't procrastinate. Know your tools. Have a good evening. I'm going to go slide around the corner.
Thank you.
I've got one more thing. I'm sorry about that. I gave you guys all a copy of this court hearing. It was a state taking the Michigan Court of Appeals back on November 18th. It was a planning commission did not adequately articulate the basis for the denial of a special land use application. If you get a chance, please review it. The biggest piece in here says basically this planning commission did not do their findings of fact. They did not enumerate them. They did not vote on them because they have to have competent material and substantial evidence on the record. And that is what the judges are looking for. So I found this, I get these updates once a month as a zoning administrator from one of my instructors at Michigan State University that I had. And so when new court cases come out, there was some new information on GAMPs and a few other things. But I thought that this was really interesting information that somebody went to the planning commission, was denied. They didn't take it to the ZBA. They took it to the circuit court. Circuit Court denied them, so they took it to the Supreme Court of Michigan. Supreme Court of Michigan pushed it back to the Planning Commission to do the job right, and then take it to their ZBA, and then after the ZBA reviews, if they wanted to appeal, they needed to. But basically, it took the Supreme Court of Michigan to push it back down, the Appeals Court of Michigan to push it back down to the Planning Commission to do the job properly. So it's going to be really critical. And so the only reason I'm getting involved, which I really don't want to be this involved, is to get this rolling right going forward. And then I'd really like to back away a little bit more. But I want to make sure we're doing things right the first time so that we just get on the right groove. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, Denver Baker, 5950 Cook Road. The only thing that I had to say to add to the whole situation, when we had our denial of our appeal, which is fine, obviously we're going to comply with it and whatnot. We did not receive anything in written form about the denial, saying that we had 6 months to take the deck down, yada, yada, yada. We received nothing in written form of the decision of the actual board. So technically, just because it was verbal, and yes, we could refer back to the minutes, but the minutes weren't approved until tonight. Right? So my meeting was October 24th of 2024. I was given 6 months to take the deck down, and I had no correspondence from anyone after the fact. So when does that 6 months actually go into effect? Yes, from this board meeting, but the minutes were never actually approved until tonight. So does my 6 months start tonight, or does it revert back to October 24th? Obviously, it would go back to October 24th, I would assume, but I have no correspondence from anybody from inside this building telling me I was denied anything besides a verbal.
Can you help us out, Deb?
I was waiting for the minutes to be approved.
Right.
As you know, I wanted a meeting in December, it got nixed.
So that means I
So-
get longer now to take it down. I'm just kidding, I know. But see where I'm going with it though, right?
All together, because I'll show you all your fines and everything.
You're
So
right.
I'll lay it all out in a letter. You'll
Yeah.
have it by Monday.
Okay,
Okay.
sounds good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Skip, did you have a public comment?
Oh, I'd like to ask the lady there in the back
It's Heidi.
question, but
Heidi,
I didn't get the name. If this is the time to do it or not, I want to know where she's from. Mr. Chairman,
Where I'm from?
I think you told us that, but you want to repeat it, Heidi?
well,
the trustee. From where?
Former trustee.
Hey, Skip,
Here,
Skip, just so you know,
I can't hear you.
can you hear me now? Can you
Yeah,
hear me
that's
now? Okay. I moved here 10 years ago. Okay?
Yeah.
I've pretty much been to almost every meeting in the 10 years.
Uh-huh.
ZBA,
Okay.
plan, I also was your trustee.
For this
So
board? You're a trustee for what?
I just got off the township board after serving 4 years with the wonderful Cheryl Goss. Choke, choke. Want me to keep going?
You got off the board with this wonderful Cheryl Goss, that's nice. But
Choke, choke.
what are you here for tonight?
I'm a private citizen.
That's what I thought. But you know what? I don't like anybody walking around with a sign telling me what I can.
I can
should
do
right?
whatever I want. This
And
is
you
my
told me
building
that I
too,
had to
sir.
refer
You know what?
to
He
the
wanted
chairman.
to ask me a question. That's not a question. That's ridicule. This is the second time I'm sitting in a meeting as a private citizen and you're ridiculing me again. I'm not taking it, Skip. If I want to wear a shirt that says, I don't like you, I can wear a shirt that says, I don't like you. You can't control me. You can't tell me what to do because you work for me right now. Get a grip, dude.
Well, while you're walking away, you're the one that done the interrupting. And you're the one that was doing the lecture the last time we talked. And I should refer to the chairman, which I did. And you
Well,
are the one
maybe-
that interrupt,
let me interrupt here that.
just like that right there. Steve.
Yeah, but,
I'm
but
glad you're not on the board. But I'm gonna make a hole for you.
yeah, but excuse me, so Heidi has the right to address when she's here to make a public comment, okay, and we cannot interrupt her while she's talking. And I just called her up to remind us that how she is tied to this township and this particular case for tonight. So thank you, Heidi, for presenting. We are to the adjournment, so I make a motion, are we?
Excuse me,
We have what?
can I
What do we have?
have a response to?
Oh, we have a Zoom, we have somebody on Zoom.
To Attorney Highmore said earlier.
Who wants to make a?
I would ask, well, two of you have been there, but the rest of you to read the minutes of the August 2023 meeting where we went over the Bags Road issue. Her comments are not entirely correct. We received a package for that meeting that had information from both attorneys. Attorneys for Bags Road group questioned whether the 4-to-1 rule applied to over 10 acres or not. They said that in the state land division, it only applied to 10 acres or less. And the comment was the townships could apply it to other, over that if it was so specified in the ordinance. That question came up in the meeting and I would refer you to read the minutes. And if you want, go through and listen to the recording, which had a lot of ridiculous stuff in it. My comment after reading, as a representative, after reading the input in the booklet was to bring the question up to, in the open section, did the 4-to-1 rule apply to over 10 acres or not? Our attorney got up and repeated his notes that were in our package. That was it. When it came to, all I did is ask, does it apply or not? It was the question I had after reading all the input. It didn't seem to me that, it was real clear. You could read for yourself what our attorney said in the meeting. When the meeting was closed, that wasn't an issue. The only issue we had was were we going to, because we can't change the ordinance either way, it doesn't matter. That wasn't the issue. The issue was the owner entitled to a variance? And I would say assume that the 4-to-1 did apply. We didn't talk about that. We just talked about the list of things. And we made our decision based on that input. It's in the minutes. I never, ever said that it does not, since then, that the 4-to-1 model doesn't apply. I have brought it back to that question back to the planning commission to say, should we clarify that? It's not entirely, our lawyer said that it's really vague. That's what I did. I never said that. So don't blame me for all that's going on in that suit. And in addition, that appeal by the county and what was it, Vicky, and they Save the Township group, whatever the name is, to the circuit court was rejected. And our findings were said to be correct. So county's entitled to her opinion, but not her facts. So if any of you don't believe me, please do. Anyway, go. I reread that today, and that's not what I said. I agree right now after discussion that we did have at our last meeting with the ZBA that, or 2 meetings ago, that the 4-to-1 rule applies because it says in our ordinance any. And that was, and I agree. And I've never, ever said that didn't apply.
Thank you, Carl.
We have a Zoom.
Yeah.
Zoom, you have a question on Zoom?
Connie Highmore. HYMORE 6761 Bags Road. I'll also encourage all of you to go back and watch the recording. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm not going to argue either. I have one observation concerning the public hearing. One ZBA member voted yes on every single finding of fact. As a matter of fact, every single member voted yes on every single finding of fact. However, one member voted no on denying the variance. That makes no sense. I think that person needs to take some classes on the duties and responsibilities of a ZBA member. You are in an appointed position and you work for the citizens of Whitewater Township. You need to follow the law. Thank you to the rest of the ZBA members. I'm glad you made the right decision about the variance. Although it's unfortunate for the property owner, it certainly is a fixable error. Thank you, Mr. Garza, for chairing this meeting and for agreeing to chair the ZBA. I know it was a bit I know it was a bit painful tonight, but I think you did an admirable job. Thank you to the ZBA
Are we
members.
okay? Are we there?
I think she maybe lost connection.
Sounded like it.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Can I ask you why you said that you had accepted the variance?
What?
Can I ask you why you were the one that voted yes?
Well, it's in the variance. And it's one of the laws that we have to follow. It isn't anything personal.
Okay, I was just wondering why it was yes, that's all.
And with every, wrong answer, there's a right answer someplace. And what's wrong here, we can make right, or you can make right. If we have something to say, to suggest to somebody to help them, I feel it's my duty to help them if I can. Some don't think so. But I think if you move that over, move it ahead a little bit, you'll be all right.
Can I finish my statement?
Did we determine how quickly that shed needed to be removed?
No, we did not.
You may want to put that in written motion that you have to do on your piece of paper and everyone needs to sign.
But
There's a sheet up there for you, Roberto.
do we need to have a little discussion on that, on the time, or
It's already been discussed.
it's already been discussed?
We can
Okay.
discuss.
I don't think we discussed the time that,
I think you did.
No, we didn't, but
we didn't discuss when she should have it, removed.
I would do.
There would be a penalty if it would remain after that date. Well, It's on the enforcement policy.
Mr. Chairman, there wasn't any discussion on what way, what direction, or what she could do also to qualify.
That's right. Well, on the findings, we stated the setback, so you have to be within those setbacks. And the issue right now is the time that, that Michaela would need to adjust that, to make that adjustment. Any,
And part of that movement would be applying for a permit and getting a permit from the zoning administrator, right?
right? Mhm.
Approve it, but we need to determine if it needs to just be removed from the site or moved on the site. But how long does she have to keep it where it is? That's what we need to determine, is how long are you gonna allow her to keep it where it is?
Previously, you said 6 months.
What have we done before?
6 months.
6 months,
months.
okay.
Leave them for 6.
Yeah.
But that was taken into consideration, it might be snow on the ground in March,
Mhm.
but we really had a long fall, it was really a long fall.
Might be a long spring too, where
It could
where the
be.
ground is, very
Yeah,
wet, yeah.
I would think, sometime in early May. Would be reasonable, I think, usually it's.
To move the building,
Yeah,
Yes.
to move the building.
either move it or relocate it.
If
Yeah.
the neighbor, we gave the neighbors 6 months to
Yeah.
remove that deck, I think we should give her 6 months to move the
Agreed.
building.
Yeah, I agree, 6
I agree
months.
with
All
that.
right, everybody agrees on 6 months, so.
Motion to amend the denial to reflect the owner needs to relocate or remove the building within 6 months.
Very good. I support that.
Thank you.
Pardon me?
Or face fines.
July 23rd would be the deadline.
We need a vote on that.
Need somebody to second it.
I second.
You say, oh, I'm sorry.
Garza second.
Garza seconded. We did vote.
Are you specifying the
You wanna-
penalties?
Up to you.
You want to vote on that?
We have every other one we've done that way tonight, so.
Looks to my yes.
Are the penalties specified here or no? I just have or face penalties.
It's in the enforcement section of the zoning ordinance.
Okay.
I think it's $100 per day.
Or face penalties, I think would be added.
Okay,
I think people are gonna be good and they'll take care of the situation.
so was that Hoaxma was the first vote?
Yes.
For each item in your yard.
Boyd, yes.
Garza, yes.
Yes.
Marubal, yes.
My motion to adjourn.
Second. Boyd, second.
Did you say we don't need a second to adjourn? Is that what you said?
I did not. I don't know.
I think that was in,
About that, I don't know if that you said it was her.
Yeah.
it was.
Oh.
That is, I can't remember the exact words. It is most commonplace to have a first and a second. There are instances, or some townships
They just do.
will do a declaration of adjournment.
Yeah.
I've only seen that once.
Standardization is probably easier.
Or voice vote to.
Right,
agree.
and regarding votes too, with things like resolutions. In my experience, they always require a roll call vote. Things like approving the agenda minutes can be yay, nay, voice votes, or anything with spending money financially. In my experience, has always required a roll call vote. I'm not familiar with the nuances of this board's bylaws. So if that's how you all wish to do it, I will adapt.
What you're saying is a roll call would be beneficial for us to do and to follow that.
Not in every case, approval of an agenda doesn't require a roll call vote.
If it's a hearing, it should be a roll call.
Public hearings, resolutions, things that are going into ordinances, things that have change like that or results, finances, elections of officers. Again, that is my experience and the knowledge that I have. I'm not saying I'm right on everything,
Well,
but
to me, it sounds right. It sounds that it's beneficial. It could protect us if anything comes up,
that part is true.
you know.
And if in a voice vote, if you have some yays and some nays, then that's specified.
I like that.
They're not always all
Yeah.
yays.
No,
And then going back to the adjournment, I'm sorry to interject at this particular
I appreciate it.
motion, but it is correct that the chair can declare a meeting adjourned. It is not the most commonplace practice. So I have Garza made a motion to adjourn, Boyd seconded, and I would like a
Roll call.
Doesn't our,
voice vote.
New
Would be
voice.
fine for
Please.
this.
Yeah.
I think Carl has a question.
yeah. Our bylaws, don't they stay in there that we can request a roll call vote, but we don't have to have a roll. We can just-
Yes, that's what I said earlier. Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
that's what you
voice
said.
vote or someone request for a
So
yes.
what are we talking about?
Yes.
Adjournment.
Now, I don't. Seems like we're wasting a lot of time.
Again, that's,
Ask for
I'm not
voice
familiar with
vote.
your particular bylaws. I'm just expressing MTA Robert's Rule of Orders Open Meetings Act
Mhm.
experience and information that I have. You just
Okay,
let me know how you want to do your
Well,
votes and I
Just
will
as you said, you know,
follow along.
that is what I'd like to do. Okay, so I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. I need
I
support.
have a second.
I already did. We already
Okay.
did that.
Vote.
Yeah.
You doing, which one are you doing?
We did,
Roll call.
you want to do roll call?
Hoaxma, yes.
Everybody say yes?
Boyd,
Okay, all right. I think that's all.
I have Roble, Hoaxma. I didn't hear any other names.
Boy, yes.
Skip said yes.
Mike, yes.
Garza.
Garza said yes.
Thank you.
9:29.
9:29
Yes.
PM.
Be careful driving. I heard there's really black ice, so if you see clear pavement, watch for black ice on the roads. Get a note at that meeting. Yeah.
Want y'all to know what I'm familiar with?
No,
and
that's
what I learned, and you all decided to do different. Well, yeah, I know. You know, I don't read everybody's bylaws and memorize them, but you will think you cover yourself. Roll call vote, really good.
We did a roll call on that.
Has to be. That's.
I don't know if we can change it.
If you look at that,
Resolutions, election of officers,
Yeah.
budget,
Number one.
finance, when you're spending money.
You point your finger on it,
And
I looked at it,
told my
the sign,
husband to fit it out.
and
No,
Arthur
because I
Rice
don't
didn't
think
let
this
me
is
do what I.
can-
I think you're fine.
Saying that during the meeting.
Yeah.
And everyone else said yes,
And you
said
did
no.
good asking for help when you.
That's right.
Okay.
You
So then
you're
you're
gonna have money if you're into
you
it.
wanted it in favor.
Oh,
Learning
sorry.
too.
Yeah.
I
I
thought,
did
you know,
it, I
just
did
as simple
it
as-
years ago.
Simplest, I
No
mean.
hitting necessary.
motions.
no,
The
that's just
agenda.
my own.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility to
Okay,
say,
I thought you
Okay.
meant.
I need
got the
a
wrong
motion,
position.
or your minutes are gonna
No, I'm
reflect
making
it.
sure it's right.
I'll speak up anytime I
Great,
can or think
thank you.
I need something, but, anyway.
And I just wrote on the bottom that, it must be moved to within the setback within 6 months from this date, 7/24, or face penalties, just like we did.
Yep.
And Mr. Gall already took off, anybody, it doesn't matter, does it?
Don't.
Because he didn't-
Wouldn't think so.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for your patience and me, you know, getting the process going. It's new for a lot of people.
Congratulations.
It's new for a lot of, hey, it got really
Oh,
smooth
yeah.
with the naming the names, right?
Maybe some.
Got really